Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Keith Engle-We here for TGI Sports Talks MLB update. Hope you guys are all having a great day. Want to welcome everybody watching today on TGI Sports Talks Facebook feed, our YouTube feed, our Twitter feed. Keep an eye on some work stuff as we do this show today. Also, we're live on Roku, Northeast Streaming Sports or National Streaming Sports. Probably when you download those apps, it's still saying Northeast Streaming Sports, but the name has changed to the network to National Streaming Sports. So get that downloaded. Lots of great content there. Also, lots of great content at Let's Talk Sports on their YouTube platform. So welcome everybody in today. I want to give a quick shout out to Ralph Williams at RW Media, especially the Sports Corner. He does with Spoken Jim Frazier every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You can catch him on Facebook, YouTube, also a local Pittsburgh channel you can catch him on. But quick shout out to a couple of the groups that really do well for us. Flo and the gang over there at Bottom Line Sports. I just shared one of their episodes from the other day on TGI Sports Talk. Flo, thank you for allowing me to share on your page. And I'll be happy to share your stuff as well on my page. The Sports Authorities and John Gonzalez. John does some great stuff over there. If you're not following these, John allows podcasts like myself. What the hell's going on here? Light-wise. I hate it when I get that little... Anyway, John Gonzalez over at Sports Authority. John allows a lot of us to share our podcast over there. Plus, he posts a lot of great stuff, both contemporary and nostalgia, which we kind of like to do on this show as well. And of course, Greg Rawlings, I want to give a shout out to it. America's Pastime, the love for baseball. Greg has allowed me to share a lot of content over there, both on his baseball sites, his football sites. I admin a couple of places for him as well and have fun doing it. So welcome to all of you. Today, I want to give apologies again for this morning. One-on-one with Keith Engle. We had a late cancellation. When I got up this morning, Dennis Rasmussen, former Yankee and Red, was unable to make the show today. So we had a little impromptu one-on-one with Keith Engle, with the audience interviewing Keith Engle. It was Ask Keith Anything. We've talked about a lot of stuff. Probably got myself in trouble with some political stuff, but whatever. We had fun. We also talked about, and I want to get into this a little bit. Where's my stadium background? That's a good point, Drew. I got the wrong setting up here. Thank you, buddy. You know what happened was it went away. I had to go out and back in, and I set it to the studio. Oh, thank you, Drew. We like this for the baseball background, right? So, yeah, Dennis couldn't make it in this morning, so he had a one-on-one and also had in Joe LaRusso, who is, oh, Jesus, good grief. Where is my share button? He is part of the Ted Williams Camp Alumni and Friends, which is doing a Jimmy Fund benefit on July 13th. You can see it here. Just to give you some, and we had Joe in to talk about that. We're going to have him on here for a bit this afternoon, and I canceled those invites. So sorry if any of you guys have tried to get in. You wouldn't be able to get in because we had Joe in this morning to talk for a few minutes about this event. It's $30 if you want to take a ride. I've thought about it. It's about a 3-hour ride, so I'm not sure that I'm going to do that, but I will make a donation myself, guys. I've posted a link to the Facebook page that they have. Some of the stuff they're doing, they got a silent auction, all kinds of stuff for kids. 2 tickets to a Top Adventure rope park, 4-day passes to Central Gym Rock, bowling parties, Boston Italian food tour in Boston, obviously, a golf package if you're a golfer, a photography session. What else are they doing? Plus, they're going to have autographed baseballs from Johnny Damon, Louis Tiant, Jim Lonborg, tickets to the Worcester Red Sox, their AAA team, tickets to the Broxton Rocks, a B&B package, stay at Five Bridge Inn, private dance lessons. They got a lot of stuff. $30 plus. I think they have tickets to Yankees, and I think if you register by the 10th and make a donation, you'd be eligible. I didn't kick myself out of here. You'd be eligible for. Thank you, Drew. You'd be eligible for those Yankee Red Sox tickets. I think that's a giveaway. Watch all the information from Joe this morning. It's a great. The Jimmy Fund is a great a cause. They've raised, millions and millions of, maybe hundreds of millions, I don't know, for children's cancer. And now they also are helping adults with cancer as well. 70 years almost, probably 65 anyway. The Jimmy Fund's been in effect. Ted Williams, one of the founding fathers of that organization, and we enjoyed having Joe on today to talk a little bit about it. Couple programming notes. We'll see you Sunday with a Stream of Consciousness, and next week with a holiday. So College Sports Huddle will be on hiatus for July as we did last year, and then we'll kind of see as we get into August, see how the dates fall, see what kind of news we have. If there's important news, we'll be on. Next Friday, we won't have a one-on-one because I didn't try to book a guest with a holiday, and I've got some things going on, so I wanted to keep the calendar free a little bit. Probably no MLB update Friday either, with a holiday weekend, and then we'll be back on Sunday. And on the 12th, which is the following Friday, Brett Saberhagen will be my guest, former Cy Young Award winner with the Royals, 85 World Series winner. I got a lot of those guys coming on, the 85 World Series champions. Former Met, unfortunately, was part of the worst team money can buy. I didn't phrase that or coin that phrase, by the way. That was Bob Klapisch, former New York sports writer who wrote a book called The Worst Team Money Can Buy about, I want to say the 92 Mets. I'm not sure exactly which year it was. So anyway, good afternoon to Drew. Good afternoon to Chris. Chris is going to jump right into it here. Tigers, please don't sell off. Stay at its course. Where are you here? Torkelson is Torkelson's in the minors. I don't know that Torkelson was rushed. Didn't Torkelson have a decent God, what's it? Spencer Torkelson, right? I want to look at his stats now, Chris. And the Tigers were my pick, by the way, here. And where do they stand right now before we get into this too much? Today I want to get into, we'll look at the standings, update that. I want to look at some managers that were started the season on a hot seat and see where they stand and go from there. Tigers are 15 games out. I don't see them tearing everything down. They're not going to trade their kids away. Because I think this is still a team on the rise. I would think A.J. Hinch could be in some trouble, though, which we'll talk about in just a second. Where are his freaking – there we go, baseball reference. So was he rushed to the majors? Let's see. What are his numbers up until 22 when he came up? He played 110 games, 8 homers. He had 203, not good. He only hit 233 last week. So I'm going to give you this. He did hit 31 homers with 94 RBIs last year, 758 OPS. Not terrible at 233 batting average. Obviously, a cause for concern. 171 strikeouts, cause for concern for me, but probably nobody else in baseball. So again, I wouldn't tear things apart there for sure. I mean, I think this is still a young and up-and-coming team. I would say A.J. Hinch might feel some heat there, though, before this season is over. Let's see what they got for – I like Cole Keith, the second baseman, who's not – again, he's struggling in his young tenure here. Only 22 years old. Get rid of Javi Baez. He stinks. Urshela's seen his better days. Riley Green's got a great career ahead of him, I would say. He's having a pretty decent year. Verling's having a okay year. And then you got Perez in right field. I like what this team's – and Mark Canha, look, they tried to probably fill in some debatable pieces here. From the pitching side, where's that ding coming from? I always get worried that I don't. I always get worried that I'm running out of power or something. What's the pitching staff look like? Oh, Scoble, we know. I love Scoble. And I don't think that I don't think their struggles have really been any cause for alarm with him. His whip is under 1. He's 9-3. He's one of the bright spots on his team. The other young guys, Reese Olson, not pitching terribly. Casey Mize is a real disappointment. And then you got the 2 older guys that they hired. Well, older guys. Flaherty's only 28. Why does it seem like Flaherty? Jack Flaherty's like 35, for crying out loud. Drew had an inspirational curiosity. I'm not sure I've ever heard it put quite that way. About a stat. To see what it might show. Yankees lead in walks with 327. And Dodgers are second at 313. Only teams above 300. Worst team? No surprise, Marlins 167. Only team below 200. White Sox are second. Well, there you go. Listen, when I talk about, that's a great point, Drew. When I talk about, am I shrinking again? Freaking chair, man. How's that? Much lower? Oh, man, my chair keeps going out from under me. When I talk about the 3 true outcomes, right, I'm not telling you that walks aren't important. I talk about on-base percentage as being a very important peripheral number all the time. Strikeouts are a problem, though, right? Walks, look at the Yankee dynasties in the 90s into 2000. Those teams walked a lot. They worked pitchers. Walks aren't just about getting base runners and runs where that's important, right? But you're also working the count and you're getting pitchers out, especially today. You're getting them out of the game a lot quicker. Those Yankee teams were awesome at that, getting into a team's bullpen, the underbelly of that bullpen. I do want to keep an eye on my Facebook page here, make sure there's no comments I miss. So anyway, I think walks are very important for sure. There we go. I've been trying to keep an eye on the comments and making sure they all come over here. There you go. Chris commented on I believe, on my personal page, and it came through. We had some issues there for a while. So walks are important. I got into it this morning with Jack Walsh, excuse me. Jack Welsh. He wishes he was Jack Welsh, right? Jack Walsh about, Giancarlo Stanton. He tells me he's having a really good year. I say he's Dave Kingman. He's got, what's he got? 16 home runs? Let's just take a quick look. I can't believe I'm going to dive right into this way, but I'm gonna, because Jack had me ticked off today. And here's the reason why walks are important. Let's just see. His walk totals may not be bad because, again, his batting average is so freaking low. Oh, let's see. You're talking about the Yankees. Well, here's an example, right? So Stan's got 20 walks. That's not a lot. 68 and 60 for Judge and Soto. 20 walks. He's up to 246 before he got hurt. By the way, he's out. Who God knows when he'll be back, right? 280 on base percentage. That's not acceptable. His OPS is 795. That's very pedestrian. These are Dave Kingman numbers. 18 home runs, 45 RBIs. So when you take his own home runs away, he's only produced 27 runs. His own run in home runs, right? He's produced 27 home runs. Judge has produced 47. Soto, 38. Again, to me, he's Dave Kingman today. Would you say Dave Kingman was a productive winning ball player? I wouldn't. The idea of whether a rookie was rushed seems to only come up if they don't do well. Of course, every player is different. Some hit right off the bat. Pun intended. Very good. I was going to say, Drew. Yeah, well, it's not going to come up if they do well. Nobody's rushed when they do well. Jackson Holliday was not rushed. He wasn't ready. Okay, fine. Send him back. You got to find out at some point whether these guys are ready. I don't think Torkelson. I don't know. Again, I'm not going to agree that Torkelson was necessarily rushed. I think when they're not producing, you got to be willing to send them back out. Gleyber Torres, I'm not sure what his option situation is, but I'd be sending Gleyber to the minor leagues. Let me get back to this Spencer Torkelson. I want to see something here because I can see minor league stats here. I want to see how long he was in the minors. Again, not a bad year for Spencer Torkelson last year. Batting average, again, the way the game's played today, it's acceptable. There we go. Minor league. So I think he was rushed. Let's see. How old is he anyway? 24 years old. He was at Arizona State. He spent a season at Chatham in the lower minor leagues, or that might be, yeah. Oh, I think that might be a summer league. Then he was at Arizona State. Then he was at Chatham. Then he was at Arizona State. So this guy played in college for 3 years. So he's already got that seasoning. Then he was in 21, he was at Toledo. He was at Erie. He was at Michigan, West Michigan, then Salt River. Toledo, 2 years in the minors, came up. Again, a guy who's played 3 or 4 years in college and then plays 2 years in the minors, even a year in the minors, that's still 4 years of seasoning compared to the younger kids who just come directly out of high school. So I don't know. Again, I'm in a minority who thinks, I think Jackson Holliday will be back and productive for the Orioles. Just because you're, and again, I guess it's a matter of semantics, right? Whether he was rushed or not. Some guys are brought up and they're not ready. Does that mean they're rushed? You got to find out what, again, especially if they're doing well in the minors. I guess he wasn't tearing it up in the minors, but at some point you got to bring these guys up and find out what they have. If they don't have it, you send them back down. Willie Mays, Mickey Mays, a lot of guys came up and had to get sent back down that were great players. So Tigers also have some vets on 1-year contracts. They could indeed move. I would definitely be moving some of these, Mark Canha, whatever the hell his name is. Some of the guys that we talked about, Carson Kelly could very well be moved. And again, you're not in position. You're probably not making a wild card this year. I wouldn't blow it all up for Chris. They got some young ball players there for sure. Probably doesn't want to be. No, I would. I mean, he wishes he was Jack Welch when he was alive, Drew. Obviously not now because, as you said, he's dead. That's a good one. Thank you, Drew. You knew you're on the wrong page. Drew wasn't at the end of the bar. TGIF, Drew, happy birthday. Mark Grace, only 60 years old, Mark Grace. Really? Younger than me? It's good. The good news is, Chris, I found out, I think it was only that one day or maybe that one weekend that Danny's stuff wasn't coming over from my site. He was commenting there, I think, last week on the Sunday show, and this stuff was coming through. That's why I've been monitoring my personal site. So I'm glad your comments came through anyway. Only 2 teams above 800 strikeouts, Mariners. Especially since this was something that we're supposedly working on by trading Hernandez and Suarez. And the A's 802, which is due to all their young players. Astros have the fewest at 541. Speaking of which, the Astros are red hot. Everybody was down on the Astros. I said the Mariners, I mean, if you've watched me, I said it week after week, right? The Mariners would rue the day. The Mariners and the Rangers are just, sorry, I don't know if you're here with me today or not, Alan, but the Rangers are stinking it up. I got no other way to say that, okay? But the Astros have won now 7 in a row, 8-2 in their last 10. They're at 500 for the first time all year, I believe. 4.5 games behind. They're also obviously in the thick of the wild card race. While the Rangers continue to slide backwards, 7 games under now, 4-6 in their last 10, lost 4 in a row. By the time this team has reinforcements comes, it's going to be over. Over. Mariners only 4-6 in their last 10. You don't let a seasoned team like the Astros, and I guarantee you the Astros will be busy at the trade deadline. I mean, the Yankees will be busy. I would love to see Vlad Jr. come to New York, but now he's lighting his stance. He said he'd rather die than be a Yankee at most of his career. He's starting to lighten that stance, but I'm going to tell you, I think the landing spot that makes the most sense for all parties would be the Astros. The Astros need pitching. I get that. And they'll find some. They're going to find a pitcher somewhere. They keep digging them up. They're almost like the Rays. They keep digging up pitchers. Baltimore's had issues. They're only 4-6 in their last 10. They have won 2 in a row to pull into a tie with the Yankees. Really, I would say they're in first place only because, they've got a game in hand in the loss column, which is really what's important. As we reach the halfway point, 81 games played. Some teams are at 83 or 80, but we're at the halfway point basically the season. So lots of good stuff going on. Drew saying, thanks, Chris. You didn't see Drew at the end of the bar. One of the people at work puts up, we all have different backgrounds, right? I've got a bookcase in my video background for work because I'd read somewhere if you put yourself in front of a library of books, you look smarter, and that's failed miserably at work. So anyway, she's always got an outdoor. Well, she got an indoor, depending on the season, an indoor bar scene or an outdoor bar scene, and she keeps promising to, whatever you do, Photoshop me in at the bar, and she hasn't done it yet. She knows how to do this stuff, and I want to be there because I think it'd be hilarious. Anyway. Oh my gosh. What do you got? Phillies just lost Schwarber, right? And Harper. What's the deal with Harper? I saw the news here and he got hurt on the final play of the game. By the way, leading vote getters in the, for the All-Star game, judge in the American League, Harper in the National League. They both got injured late in the game, elected to his 8th All-Star game hours earlier. Harper felt his left hamstring tighten as he was running to first base. Not good. Hamstring's never good. He is so big for that team. But we'll see. That is, in Schwarber, I'm not a big Schwarber fan. I've never been a Schwarber fan. Have we gotten any word on why there are no back-to-back doubleheaders anymore? I think, no. I don't think it's about player safety. It's about money. The real doubleheader went away, scheduled. By the way, they play them once in a while, and mostly they play day-night so they can get 2 gates, right? So, yeah, don't let anybody fool you, Chris, that that's a player safety thing. As with most of the things in the MLB, the world of MLB, where they try to, the runner on second base is a safety thing and the pitch clock's a safety. Everything's a safety thing. And I'm not buying, especially this. Doubleheaders are not a player safety thing. They did away with them, and I want to say more than 20 years ago, since they had scheduled back-to-back doubleheaders. They play them now when there's a rain out. Mostly they try to get 2 gates when they can, but sometimes they don't. So it's all about money. And I think it's ridiculous. I used to love it. When I was a kid, we would always look for games. My dad would look for doubleheader games to take us to because it was bang for your buck. And, you'd wonder why they could still start April 15th and get done, the end of September. Well, because they played 10 or 12 doubleheaders a year, scheduled doubleheaders. And I think it was great for the fans. But again, money. Let's check it out. Yeah, so there's the word. Anyway, Chris, the word is MLB, and this isn't a Rob Manfred thing. I can't blame him. When did true doubleheaders? I'll bet you it was 25 years ago. I'm going to say doubleheaders. Go. I'm trying to type and go away. Let me see if I get anything. The league and MLB came to an agreement to put this rule in place. That was for 2020. This was 7 innings. There he goes. Bleacher Report. Whatever happened to the classic doubleheader? Once upon a time, as recently as 10 years ago, this is in 2008, by the way, so 1998 he's talking about, which is 25 years ago. I'm pretty close. Once upon a time, as recently as 10 years ago, in fact, which we're talking about 1998 in this, it was routine for each MLB to play at least one doubleheader scheduled. In the 60s and 70s, by the way, it was probably 10 or 12, as I said. And there he goes. He talks about that. It was common in the 60s and 70s to have as many as 10 on the season schedule. But nowadays, the MLB schedules any double headers, and when they got to do a makeup, it's a day-night when they can do it. I'm surprised they don't charge for extra innings. So again, this article from Bleacher Report goes into exactly why. Money. Just follow the money, Chris. The world of sports isn't that much different than the world of politics or the world of business, the world of espionage, whatever you want to talk about. Always follow the money. There you go. Drew says doubleheaders for the same reason as always, money. Why schedule 2 at the price of 1 when you get twice the income? Once in a great while, we'll get a true doubleheader as part of a makeup series, and you'll get 2 for the price of 1. But it is so rare. If that happens like twice a year in all of baseball, I'd be shocked. Through fatigue, you'd get some interesting moments. Mark Whiten, 4 for 4 with home run. 4 for 4 with home runs. Was that part of it? I didn't know if that. I remember Mark Whiten doing that. I think he was with. Was Mark Whiten? Was he with the Indians and the Mariners? One or the other. I think. Yeah, I mean, listen, but that was part of the. Listen, I remember Wilbur Wood. That's how old I am. Drew will probably remember this. Wilbur Wood starting both ends of a doubleheader for the White Sox. Here's a fun stat. Don't let Drew get you, Chris. Fun stat. Jaron Duran leads the majors with triples with 10. Bobby Witt, 8. Volpe, 7 follow. You see, triples, doubles and triples. I'm looking like when I'm playing. I think I've told you guys before, and I know Drew is a Stratomatic fan, and I play an electronic version, which again, it's not quite as much fun because you're managing a team. You get to set up strategies and lineups, and I just got through playing in the mystery tournament, which I did very well, and best I'd ever done. I mean, I finished I didn't even make it to the finals, which top 24 teams make it, but out of about 180 teams, I finished like 35th and finished first. Won 2 leagues, won the 70s. I won the 60s. I won the 70s. No, let's take that back. I won the 60s. I finished second, and I lost in the finals in the 70s. And I won the 2000s, won in the finals, made it through the semifinals and the finals. 4 teams make the playoffs. And the problem was the other two teams both lost 100-plus games. That's why I didn't make the finals. But in any event, when I'm looking for players in the Stratomac, and again in the virtual world, I'm looking at doubles and triples. Those are the guys that are valuable to me. Doesn't always work out, but Drew, I know we keep talking about playing, and we got to do it. And with the weather nice, I'm never going to do it till fall, but we got to figure out something. And I want to talk to JB about this Strato. I was hoping he'd be here today. He brought it up to me, and then he never kind of gave me any details about it. I mean, they play like these all-day tournaments and whatnot. Take a ride and do that. Have some fun. Only one pitcher below 2, Ronaldo Lopez. Very good, by the way. Where are we? 331. Let's go through the standings. I want to look at these. I guess at the same time. As I do that, let me. Oh, jeez. Let's look, and we'll go through the standings at this kind of at the same time. But here are 11 managers that. This might be from MLB.com. I'm not sure. Well, we're listed on the hot seat before the season. Bud Black, he's got to be very hot there again. Bud Black's a good manager in a horrible, horrible position. Aaron Boone, it's all about the postseason. 2 guys here. Aaron Boone and Dave Roberts are both on this list. It's all about the postseason. Alex Cora. Listen, Boston's playing some pretty good baseball again. 8-2 in their last 10, I believe, right? He's probably going to keep his job there. And here's another thing I've read, rumor-wise, that if Aaron Boone and the Yankees part ways and Alex Cora and the Red Sox part ways, the Yankees would be very interested in bringing him into New York. I'm not sure yet. Griffall for the White Sox, he's a dead man walking. His team's still on a pace for 120 losses. Kept that pace from last week. They hadn't fall behind or pick up. AJ Hinch, I just mentioned. I think he's in serious jeopardy right now. Mark Kotsay with the A's. Who can expect anybody to do anything with the A's? That's ridiculous. Dave Martinez with the Nationals. Listen, I think Martinez is probably, and we'll talk about these as we go forward, but I think the Nationals have probably overperformed a little bit. They're 71-91 last year, lost 107 games the year before that. They've improved. They're on a pace for a better record than that. Dave Roberts, we talked about just a second ago, same as Aaron Boone. This is all about the postseason. Both these teams are going to the postseason. And if they flame out, I think both these guys are in trouble. John Schneider, I don't know what's kept John Schneider around up until now. Photos of the owners, I don't know. Just kidding. Scott Surveys. Listen, I think the Mariners overcame a slow start and have done okay, although I said they'll probably make the playoffs, which is important. I mean, again, this is a great pitching staff. I think it lacks a little bit offensively. You talked about the strikeouts before. I think Surveys will probably be safe. Derek Shelton with the Pirates. Look at Pirates are the Pirates. So as we think about that, let's think about other guys as we go through these division by division. I think I've got a couple of comments here before I go any further. We'll go by division by division, talk about the guys that are on that list and guys that might have joined them, and maybe guys that have got off the list. Chris would be remiss not to do the Luke Voigt report. Give me the Luke Voigt report. But this is turning into a Disney movie. Every time I check his numbers, he's homered again. 50 games, 18 homers, 42 RBIs. But where's he playing? I know I checked this out. Come on. Where's he playing? I mean, is he playing in some independent league somewhere? It's got to be. Where the heck is he playing? No, I think we went through this. I think he might be in a real minor league team, isn't he? 2023, show minors. So 20, I don't show him anywhere. Where the heck is he playing? Sleeveless Homer. Where is he playing? What happened to Luke? He's getting his second chance after 2 months with AAA Syracuse. I can't see where he's playing. The baseball reference doesn't show him playing any place. Let me get news. Let me go to the news. You probably already posted it for me, Chris, but Mets released him in March. That's all I got. Bristol. Is he playing with an independent league team? No? Come on. Mark Whitten was with the Cards. Was he really? I feel like he's with the. He might have played with both of those teams. 4 homers, 12 RBIs, and a nightcap in 1993. Excellent research, Drew. Well done. Counsell has removed his way into last place so far, worth every penny. Listen, I like Craig Counsell, but I don't like the way things went down last year. The problem is, he's not in any danger of losing his job. He's got a guaranteed contract for what? 5 years, I think, right? I would hit a bunch of homers if he were in the Mexican. Oh, he's in the Mexican League, right? I would hit a bunch of homers in the Mexican League. I agree, Drew. By the way, I wish Rick were here because Rick asked me a couple questions. Rick asked, because we didn't have Drew Rasmussen on. If you weren't on at the top of the show, Drew had to cancel at the last minute. So we did a little chat with Joe LaRusso from the Jimmy Fund, and and then we had Ask Keith. An hour Ask Keith anything you want. So we talked about pineapple on pizza. We talked about some other stuff, a little bit of politics, my politics. Some other questions came up, and Rick asked one of his standard questions, like who underperformed or who was the craziest teammate that I played with, and who got the most out of the least, right? And I kind of said me, and I didn't mean it in a back patting kind of way. I always talk about how I was not the most athletic kid of my friends. I had some talent, but not like they did. Everything came natural. I had to work hard. So that's when I asked that question of the major leaguers, that's kind of what I mean, guys that got the most out of what they had. I felt I was one of those guys, but I didn't want to come across conceited. There were guys, I wasn't the best ball player on my team, but nobody worked harder than me. I can tell you that. Had a lot of fun. Now, that said, I could go to Mexico and hit a bunch of home runs. So, I think Luis Tiant pitched there until he was about 60. I could be wrong. I could be exaggerating. American League East, the Orioles, as I said, have moved into a theoretical tie with the Yankees. They're 3 percentage points ahead because they had one less loss. The Yankees have one more win. And they've also played 2 more games than the Orioles. But listen, these are 2 teams heading in different directions. The Orioles have withstood. They're only 4-6 in their last 10. I get that. It's the only thing that's really kept the Yankees tied here. They've slid 2-8. They've lost now. I want to say they've lost 4 series in a row. Is that right? Let's check it out. So, well, they just started a series with the Blue Jays. They lost a series to the Mets. They lost a series to the Braves. They lost a series to the Orioles. They lost a series to the Red Sox. That's 4. They've lost 4 straight series. I talked about the warning signs, and guys tell me I'm too hard on my team. Danny Fuller's always telling me how I'm bashing my team, but I'm a realist, man. When I see red flags, I'm going to talk about them. DJ's not hitting. Rizzo wasn't hitting. His replacement isn't hitting. Gleyber's can't play any part of the game right now, and finally Boone told him to take a seat. Stan's out again, and he wasn't playing that great before. Judge and Soto are carrying this team. And the pitching staff has been okay. Cole got lit up the other night. Rondon got lit up last night. One of the guys that is in one of the groups and will send me messages, ask me what I think, never agrees with what I say. I think he does it just to spark up a debate with me. I said the Yankees need starting pitching. The Yankees need relief pitching, which they might get back from guys on the DL. Or improve for guys getting back from the DL. I think they need another outfielder. I think they need a third baseman. I think they need a second baseman. I think they need a first baseman. I think this team needs a lot. Can they win with what's here? Yes. But come the postseason, you can't have four guys in your lineup with sub 300 on base percentages and guys who just can't make basic plays in the field like Gleyber. Gleyber's done here. Chris asked me to be objective this morning, and I tried to be. Sit him down. Maybe I got to be, give him a little bit of a kick in the ass. But quite frankly, I don't think there's any hope for Gleyber here. I've said that. His year last year was not that good. They should have traded him off of that because it's the best year he's had since 2019. And I said after 2020, Yankees messed him up by moving him to shortstop. Hurt his bat. It hurt his in the field. The hell is that? Sorry. He takes his struggles in the field to the plate, and then he takes his struggles at the plate to the field. And it's a bad situation, and he doesn't have great baseball instincts. Rizzo does have great baseball instincts, but he's out 4 to 6 weeks, and he wasn't playing that good before. DJ now is on his third straight subpar season. I love DJ. He's obviously never going to be the player he was his first 2 years as a Yankee. So anyway. Where else am I? Geez, the Baseball Reference, boys. Baseball Reference is my go-to for everything. I'll give you a good one. Charlie Kaminsky is a player. He's on a list for single-digit home runs and triple-digit RBIs this season. Listen, I was reading a book recently about the Giants-Dodgers rivalry going all the way back in time. Walter Alston got to bat one time. He was kind of like Night Train Lane. And I don't think he ever got to swing the bat. I think a guy got picked off or something, and he became the Dodger manager later on. So, where was I? I digress. Where'd my standings go? Oh, I guess I got on a Yankee rant. Red Sox. 6 games over 500. 8-2 in their last 10. 7.5 back of first place in the wild card hunt. The Guardians continue to play pretty good baseball. 7-3 in their last 10. They've lost a couple in a row, but they got a 7-game lead over the Twins, who have rebounded and playing decent baseball. They've now moved into a second place ahead of the Royals, who are fading a bit. Again, 4-6 again in their last 10. But they have won 2 in a row. The Tigers have been a big disappointment. The White Sox, their manager's getting fired. A.J. Hinch doesn't turn this around here in the second half. He could be fired. The Royals should be safe. Twins. Listen, Baldelli's going to keep his job. Obviously, Vaught is going to keep his job. In the American League, Aaron Boone, it's all about the playoffs. I think Cora probably is going to keep his job unless they totally collapse. Kevin Cash maybe, this is the first year they've really had a bad season, and they can still rebound, and they're still within striking distance at a wild card, but he could be in trouble. And Schneider's got to be a dead man walking. In the West, the Mariners, we had Surveys on that list, and I don't think he's in any trouble unless they collapse. This team should be in the playoff race throughout, probably will make it. Whether they can hold off the Astros for the division is beyond or still remains to be seen. Should probably left that up there. The Rangers, again, I don't know if the Rangers are going to turn this around. They've been in a season-long malaise. Let me see what the real problem is with the Rangers. Again, doing a quick look at their numbers, and I always look at this 306 team on base percentage. That was the problem leading up to their World Series championship. As I said to you, too many guys, just like the Yankees. I mean, Garcia, 2.8, he's at 219, 279 on base percentage. That's terrible for your star outfielder. Totally changed his swing this year, by the way. I saw a video of some Jeff Fry put it up, former Major League player. I'd like to get Jeff Fry on the one-on-one show, and I think I will. Not a big star by any means, but he knows baseball. And this guy's showing guys drills, and I can't even explain what he was showing to you or showing to these kids. But Garcia's gone to this swing, and he can't even play anymore. Tavares has been terrible. Heim has regressed. Josh Smith is playing pretty good baseball, former Yankee prospect. He should find his way into the lineup every day. And Langford and Carter have not performed well. You can't. This is it. And the pitching, let's see. Now, they may get pitching help, right? They couldn't get DeGrom back. They already got Scherzer back, but I think he got bombed, didn't he? No, actually, he pitched pretty well. Take that back. He pitched pretty well. I guess I'm thinking of Cole the other night. But all in all, their pitching staff, not terrible by today's standards, but not deep. And Michael Lorenzen is one of your best pitchers, maybe your best pitcher. Navaldi's pitched okay. Urena's pitched okay. It's the batting. You got to get guys on base, man. Moonlight Graham. What'd I say? What did I say Moonlight Graham or didn't I? Best baseball movie ever. Best baseball scene is when Terrence Mann, the character played by James Earl Jones, is telling Ray Casella, played by Kevin Costner, about baseball and how it's rolled. The one constant in life, and he goes through this whole poetic scene, is baseball. I want to feel that way again, man. Did I not say Moonlight Graham? What'd I say? Night Train Lane. I don't know what I said. Check out Tommy Herr for the Cardinals in 85. I'm going to say I'm going to say without looking that Tommy Herr hit well over 300 with 8 home runs and over 100 RBIs or 100 RBIs. Without looking. I'm going to look right now. How close am I? You going to be impressed? Oh, Tony, who's Tommy Herrera? Don't click on the first thing you get. Jesus. Tommy Herr. 1985. 8 home runs, 110 RBIs. 302 batting average. Thank you. Don't ask me something important, please. Can we talk about concession food prices in parks? We can talk about that for sure. And again, that you can blame Rob Manfred for. Listen, I'm not even willing to blame the contracts. And Chris brought this up to me the other day. He was talking about Rogers Stadium, Rogers Field, whatever they call the Rogers Center, where the Blue Jays play. That the average price of nearly every food item was $30, and I guarantee a beer is $20 or $25. Same in Yankee Stadium. It's the same in a lot of these parks around the country. And Chris had kind of equated it, I believe, Chris, and if I'm wrong, let me know. I know I stopped responding because I fell asleep that night. Or was that last night? See, I can't remember. I can remember what Tommy Hare did. Her hair. Tommy Hare did in 1985, but I can't remember when you messaged me this. I could have been watching a debate. Wow. That's all I got to say about that. More on that Sunday, maybe. Here's what I heard all for an hour and a half last night, just to give you my impression of the debate last night was, I know you are, but what am I? For like 2 hours. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I think you equated it. This is getting like the stream of consciousness show. I think you equated it with the high contracts. I'm not going to give them that. Their TV contracts are so high because it's not just the national TV contract. They've got all these other contracts that are coming in. So they got the big one with Fox, but they've got peripheral runs with Roku, and they've got them with Peacock, and they've got them with Apple. There's money rolling in for TV. Forget about revenue from inside the park, what you charge people to get in. You've got parking. You've got wearables. You've got local TV revenue. So the Yankees collect this big contract from Major League Baseball or from Fox or whoever, however the money's divvied up by Major League Baseball for the TV contracts. Plus they got their own network that makes a fortune. That's not why. So it's not, you can afford to pay the players and not gouge the fans. $30 for a hamburger, $25 for a hot dog, $25 for a beer, $100 to park. Nonsense. So there, I talked about it. You can take it from there, Chris. Grifol will not lose his job. He was hired with them knowing the team would suck. Do you think they knew they'd suck this bad? You're probably right, though. This is his first year, right? Probably being too hard on him. He's in a no-win situation, though. But here's the thing. If they have change in, and I don't remember when they changed their front office, whether they may have changed it last offseason, and they'll probably all be safe. That's a volatile organization these days. This is a team that they're looking for a new ballpark. They just got a new ballpark like 20 years ago, for crying out loud. It's possible. Everybody's day-to-day, Drew. So I'm not saying I'm not willing to say I won't lose my job before the baseball season's over. Because that's just how life works. Oh, God. We're all day to day. I can't get that through my people's head. You know? We work at the pleasure of the company, and the manager works at the pleasure of the ball team, and when you get fired, you get fired. Sometimes it's deserved, sometimes it's not. I don't know how I got on that. Anyway, Phillies. Back to the best record in baseball, by the way, the Philadelphia Phillies. We talked about the injury to Bryce Harper. Could be impactful after he just won the All-Star voting, which now I believe, except for, if I'm not mistaken, Drew, because and Chris, one of you guys can straighten me out here. I haven't seen any kudos for my Tommy Hare recollection, by the way. I'd like to get a little pat on the back here. If I'm not mistaken, the All-Star voting now is the two only Judge and who did I say? Harper are in the All-Star game right now. And I believe every other position goes into like a runoff. First and second place will now go in a runoff, just like a not a presidential election, but some political elections go into runoffs if you don't get the majority of the votes. So tell me if I'm wrong. And again, I don't know if I like this. I know Major League Baseball's tweaked this system a bunch the last decade. I used to love the All-Star game. It used to be awesome. But now I can't, you'd know who the guys are by their uniforms. Now you can hardly tell because we wear clown suits. Want to wrap this sucker up on a fun one. Randy Johnson throwing 100 miles an hour for the Mariners. Mark McGwire hit a 538 foot home run at the old Kingdom. There's two guys who get it done. Speaking of the All-Star game, one of the best moments ever was Randy Johnson throwing one over John Kruk's head and him turning around trying to bat right-handed. I love it. Employment at will, that's right. Says everyone's expendable. But here's the thing. I've been at my job 22 years. I was at the job that I was at before that for 20 years. And that's not to pat myself on the back, but in every one of those jobs, I've never thought anybody owed me anything. I knew I was expendable, and I knew I was day to day. I've always known that, and I think I've done better for myself and for my company because of it. It's just a realization. I've seen people disappear that I go, oh my God, that's shocking. But that's just the reality of, the corporate world I live in, and I'm okay with it. If I wasn't okay with it, I'd have a different job. I'd go join a union somewhere where, that'll protect me. Joe, see you guys later, buddy. Or Chris, see you later. We're going to do the National League anyway, and we're going to probably get out of here, go through I guess we're going to do the National League, do the schedule, and we'll get out of here unless we get some more comments. Drew's got some more things he wants to chat about. So anyway, I was talking about the Phillies, back to the best record in baseball. The Braves gallantly trying to hang in 6-4 in their last 10. They're 8 games behind. The Mets trying to climb back into it, at least climbing back into the wild card conversation at 500. 8-2 in their last 10. I believe their record's even better over the last 15 games or so. Just demolished the Yankees. Playing good baseball, still 12.5 games back of the Phillies. I mentioned the Nationals not playing badly for Dave Martinez. I think Martinez may have moved himself off that hot seat, if you will, unless they collapse. Again, it's a whole half a season to play. What is his name? Stoolmaker, correct? Skip Stoolmaker. I don't know. Who knows what what is beeping on my computer? Very interesting. Maybe it's something coming in. Maybe I turned on notifications on Facebook or something. Anyway, the Marlins are pretty soon going to be getting down there with the they're 6-4 in their last 10. They're not pressing the White Sox just yet. The Rockies might do that though. Rockies are moving dangerously close to that precipice, if you will. Listen, the Phillies are going to win this division. The Braves are going to try to hold on, make the playoffs. Be interesting to see what they do at the trade deadline. The Brewers, 4 in a row again. I think Drew's got a comment here about the Central. It is a bit ironic. Craig Counsell walking away from the Brewers, his bench coach taking over for him, having them in first place, 15 games over 500, 4-game winning streak. The Cardinals have rebounded nicely, now 2 games over 500, 6.5 behind the Brewers. And the Cubs, to Drew's point, with the most expensive manager in history at 38-34. Get what you pay for. The Reds, I know one of Drew's favorite teams here. Shoemaker. Did I finally get that right at the end? I think I did. I think I finally got it right at the end. Shoemaker. The Reds 5 games under, still one of the biggest disappointments. Still time to recover here and get in the wild card race because nobody's running away with that. So the Reds and the Pirates only 2 games under 500. So listen, Derek Shelton probably won't get fired again. This is not a team that really cares about winning. It doesn't appear. Mark Mancini's comments aside. The Dodgers, 20 games over, 4 in a row. They won again. Anybody in trouble in the Central? Yeah, probably not. I mentioned David Bell before. Drew thinks he'll be safe. Drew talking about Pat Murphy, the manager for the Brewers. He will be in the National League Manager of the Year running, I'm sure. Again, I mentioned David Bell, probably safe for the year. But David Bell, if this team, again, I know it's a young team, but sometimes teams want a different voice. David Bell would probably do well to have a much better second half than he had first half here. Good news is these teams are not out of the wild card race because we take, 10 of those. In the West, the Dodgers, again, 8-2 in their last 10, as I said. The Padres, I swear to God, this has been going on for like 3 years. They're always 3 games over or 3 games under 500. They won 3 in a row, 7 of their last 10, and they're now 3 games over. Diamondbacks still trying to fight back. Both World Series teams from last year struggling mightily. 3 games under 500. They are 11.5 out of first place. Still in a hunt for the wild card, as is my surprise pick in the National League, 39-43 Giants, and then the Rockies and Bud Black. Nobody's in trouble, I don't think, managerial-wise here. Dave Roberts, maybe, like Boone. I think his future depends on their postseason results. That's just me. Good point about Murphy, though, Drew. Who else would you put in that? Who else? I mean, who would be the competition right now? Rob Thompson's got to be get some credit. If the Mets continue to play, I would think Marino will get some pub there for potentially. Marmol, if the Cardinals keep a run going. Maybe that's all we got in the American League. The heck is Hyde? What's the man? What is the Brandon Hyde? Yeah, Brandon Hyde. He's got to get some love here, I would think. Cora's going to get some love, possibly. Definitely, Vaught will get some love in the Central. Listen, I mean, think about that. If Joey Espada, if they come back, if this Astro team continues to play well, Joey Espada is probably going to get a little bit of love come that voting time as well. And I was trying to think of the manager of the Royals. Oh, Quintrano. Yeah. Michael, God, how are you? You're lucky we went long, Michael. You got to set your clock for 3:00 Eastern time for this show, dude. Good to have you with us. We'll only be here a few more minutes, so good to have you with us. I know you're a future Yankee fan, so we want to keep you abreast of everything going on. General manager on teams that are expected to suck get longer leashes. It's the ones that underperform expectations, like Schneider, who get in trouble. Also, David Bell. Big expectations for the Reds off of last year's progress, I think, Drew. So I think David Bell might have some issues going forward for sure. Vote? All right, whatever. Why doesn't he spell it that way then? These guys. See, now I can say I want more Smith and Joneses, and I'm not being politically incorrect because, he's obviously a white guy, and I'm not making some kind of politically incorrect statement about names I can't pronounce. Never mind. I'll get myself in more trouble. Really, name your more Smith and Joneses, right? Spell it vote then. Where in his ancestry, who said we want our name to be pronounced vote, but we're going to spell it GT? No E. You're lucky I got Vought out of that, for crying out loud. What time is it, Michael? You got about 9 p.m., right? That'd be my bedtime. Not quite. That should be Joe's bedtime. He'd be in much better position today if it was bedtime. Great to have you with us again, Drew. Have a great weekend. Good to have you. Oops, what do you got here? Mainly because Vought is not English. It's German, I'm guessing, right? Am I wrong there? Probably too. I want every name to be Americanized. Everybody's name should be Americanized. I want to be the ugly American. I probably already am. Chris is back. Oh, no, that's Danny. Danny's with us. You missed my Yankee bashing today, Danny. Good to have you with us as we head out the door. Well, Chris is in Toronto, right? So it's only natural to have some rooting interest in the team across the bridge. I know. And Chris tries to keep this on the down low, but Yankees are really his team. We know this. 9 p.m. What do you got? Question. Do you prefer old Yankee Stadium or the recently new version? I hate the new version. I'm just too old school. Again, with Yankee Stadium was getting to be a dump. The field itself, gorgeous. Here's the thing I liked about Yankee Stadium, the old Yankee Stadium, the new old Yankee Stadium. Because remember, and just to give you a little history, I guess, lesson, Michael, the house that Ruth built was built in the 20s. And by the 70s, it was really run down. I mean, in the old days, the monuments used to be right on the field in center field. You see Bobby Mercer there looking for the ball in between the monuments and such. But they went under a remodel in the mid 70s. Yankees played at Shea Stadium for 2 years. I love that ballpark because you'd be walking through these catacombs that were just dingy and dark. And you walk up through the tunnel and there's this beautiful cathedral. Sorry, Danny. This beautiful cathedral where baseball was played. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous view and a great moment to come out of those runways, if you will, into that ballpark. Now the ballpark's nice. You can walk all the way around it. You can like all the Martin ballparks, right? You can walk all the way around the ballpark and see the game, which is great. And I think that's awesome. You don't have to wait in line for 2 hours to get something to eat, probably because it costs $30 for a hot dog, as Chris mentioned earlier. But I prefer I'm old school. Listen, I prefer old Foxborough Stadium to Gillette. It was a dump. Metal bleachers, freeze your ass off in the wintertime, in the summer probably. We'd be there and the toilets would flush and it'd be running down the steps of the stadium. I miss that old stadium because I spent 10 years going to, 10 years with season tickets and 30 years going to games there. They are playing, again, you're down on your Lakers as well, by the way. I might, I'm going to give you a little Biden Trump thing here. I know you are, but what am I? Listen, there's a lot. I've been saying to you for weeks that there are red flags, and the red flags are really waving and whipping in the wind right now. True. Best Yankee Stadium was Shea. I got to tell you, you couldn't even hear yourself think in that stadium. I hated that place when the Yankees played there when I was a kid. So they played there when I was 14 and 15, went to probably 4 or 5 games there. Every 10 minutes, you couldn't hear yourself think as a plane's flew over from LaGuardia. And Shea was a dump, too, by the way. Man. Hey, Michael, don't run away. We'll see you Sunday. Pop in. 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. That's a 1:30 p.m. your time, Michael. I gotta get a time clock for you guys for Danny out on the West Coast and Michael over in the UK. Of the only who's left, Wrigley Field and Fenway are the only stadiums left, if I'm not mistaken, of the really old guard. Am I missing somebody? I don't think so. Wrigley Field is an awesome place to see baseball. Fenway, it's cool because of the wall and the history, There's some obstructed views in that ballpark that you have to be careful of. Maybe in the last few years they've done some remodel. I don't think they can, because structurally I don't think there's anything they could do. Because I've gone to some Yankee games there, and I've been stuck sitting behind a freaking iron girder or support beam. But it's a beautiful ballpark, and I love the history. Wrigley Field, I've been in Wrigley Field as well for a Yankee Cubs series back in, I want to say, early 2000s. Beautiful place to watch a ball game. Day game. Nobody in Boston goes to see a game. They go eat dinner. I went to a game there, and it was constant parade up and down the stairs to get food. Saw the same guy going back up 6 times. I have to tell you this. One thing about Fenway, there are some awesome bars around Fenway Park. I haven't been there now in probably 15 years, but I got to believe some of these places. The Cask and Flagon, one of my favorite all-time bars, even though I was in Boston in Yankee gear, having my life threatened. We sat there in a rain delay one time for about 4 hours and went back to the ballpark. My buddy Scott was asked to leave shortly after we returned, and my other buddy Mark, who didn't get thrown out, decided to leave with him. The usher comes down to get him, and the security guy comes down and says, "You," because I think Scott had thrown a beer into the bullpen. We were at the it was Angels and Red Sox, I think. It was a bus trip. This is like 30 years ago. And they were behind the Angels bullpen, which I think was the visitors bullpen, I think is in right field there, or was. And he just tossed a beer into the bullpen. He didn't hit anybody. But they tossed him out, obviously. And my buddy Mark gets up to go with him. He goes, no, you're fine. You can stay. He says, nope, I'm out here too. Oh, those stories, man. Why am I still here? All right, guys, we'll wrap it up. Drew, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Danny's still here. We get the LOL. Politics is at its worst. Just to say, I pray for Mary. I pray for every day, man, because the choices we have and the choices we've had for a long time are just awful. Awful, awful, awful. To me, there is no choice here. What you saw last night is pretty indicative of we're in trouble here. I don't know what it's going to look like 4 years from now when finally you'll have two different people, but are we going to be able to live? I don't know. Anyway, Fenway, best fan base in baseball. Today, at least 25. Today, at least the 25 stadiums I've been in. So you're talking about the atmosphere of the fans in the ballpark. I did go there. I've gone there many times for Yankee games and felt safe. Quite frankly, probably safer than Boston fans feel in New York. For sure. But anyway, did he see you 5:30 a.m.? I'll wake you up if you want. Give me your number. I'll give you a wake up call. Kidding, buddy. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're with me so early out there on the West Coast, Danny. You are a great addition to our peanut gallery here. Thanks to you. Thanks to Drew and Michael and Chris. And we had a small participating crowd. We had a decent viewership today, but so probably, as I said, we'll see you Sunday for the not probably. We will see you Sunday for the Stream of Consciousness show. Next week with the holiday here, no one-on-one with Keith Engle, but on the 12th we'll have Brett Saberhagen. Next week on the 5th, also probably no MLB update unless there's some huge news going on. Maybe we'll pop in and do an hour, depending on what's going on. I promised my wife I was going to take some serious downtime from both my real job and this fun job, but we'll be back with the Stream of Consciousness next week too, and we'll talk more about that on Sunday. But we'll see you guys. Have a great Friday night and a great Saturday. It's going to rain here again. See you on Sunday morning. Have a great night. Bye-bye.